Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. We are retired New York City police detectives and 9/11 World Trade Center first responders. If you like all things true crime related from the police detective's perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you get all things DutyRon and my partner in crime, Ed Wallace, when we go live or upload another video. Hey, tonight, Danelo Cavalcante. Wow, I got stuck there. Day 10. Nothing has happened other than a lot of searching today. Ed Wallace and I have been talking back and forth on this, and it's just unbelievable that we have this amount of personnel out there and we have nothing to show for it. But we do know that they are being vigilant. They are going and searching in these woods. They're down in that same area in the Longwood Garden section. Ed, I wanted to just get your thoughts because I know you know a lot about some of the technology that gets used, and we'll get into that later in the show. But what's your thoughts on this? Because we really haven't gone live, you and I, together on this because of different, things going on.
Well, it's amazing that they haven't caught him yet. And, they're getting all these trail cameras and ring cameras and all these images of him moving at night. So he stays low in the day, and he seems to be breaking into places and upping his supplies in the backpacks and the gym bag that he's carrying. He probably has a weapon by now, because a lot of these homes up in the Pennsylvania area over there are not occupied year round. They're like hunting cabins or vacation spots, either in the winter or in the summer. So Lord knows what he has now. It's just amazing that we're getting all these images of him, and so we're tracking him at night. He seems to be quite adept to this, as we know that he escaped in Brazil, right?
Yeah, he escaped in Brazil and spent quite a bit of time in the jungle eluding authorities over in Brazil. And if he was able to do it over there and slip out of the country, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a guarantee that he's going to be able to slip away. It seems like they have him choked down or narrowed down into a area along this Longwood Garden section of, Chester County. But my niece lives 19 miles, as I was telling you before we went live. She lives 19 miles from there. She has a newborn at home, and her husband is 6'5". He's a CrossFit guy, big strapping dude. But they are scared shitless. They're like, who knows where this guy could have gotten? Was he able to elude authorities? But we have news reports that say that there's been 10 sightings, not just only by law enforcement intel, but from the public. And that's quite a lot of sightings. So when you see a flurry of activity like the 400 plus men and women on the ground, plus the air assets, and you have drone technology, Ed, and I know you could speak on the drones and the technology that they have. It still is unsettling. It's unsettling. And, for the younger folks and then the older folks, the elderly, there's some people that probably had to leave their homes. And we know it's hunting. I confirmed it with my niece's husband. Everybody in that area either hunts. There's mushroom farms all along that area. But there's lots of hunting going on and a lot of guns and ammo. So if this guy's breaking into empty homes, he may very well have a weapon. So
yeah, this is like Texas all over again. And what they need to do in law enforcement is identify all the properties in this area, and then reach out to the homeowners of these properties to see if they're at the location or if they have cameras in the location, to be on the lookout for this person setting off their cameras or whatever the case may be. But now it's going to get down to the nitty gritty of more manpower and house by house search.
Yeah, and that's very time consuming because they're looking to search to locate them, and then that's a whole nother on-taking, right? Going door to door. And remember down in Leon County, Ed, they were marking the residents with like a yellow flag or some type of marking when it was cleared. And
yeah,
again, this is an opportunity for a slick perp like Danelo Cavalcante to say, hey, these things with the markings on it. This might be one of the homes that they checked, and have them slip in there and try to elude authorities. These inmates and perps like this are pretty they're pretty slick when it comes to stuff like this, and we know that all too well from dealing with them for 20 years or more.
Well, they could use reverse 911 and start calling everybody in the jurisdiction to get information and see what's going on. First of all, okay, what houses did he break into already? Where did he get the backpack? Where did he get the gym bag? What are the items that were stolen from these locations? We still don't have a clear accounting of this, where he's been, in what houses, and so forth. So we need to reach out to everybody. But there is this thing, and the governor has control of them. It's called the National Guard. Okay, get them out there, get them boots on the ground, and let's start doing these door-to-door searches throughout this community to see what's going on.
Ed, I'm so happy that you brought that up, because I've been talking about that. A lot of people in the chat, and by a show of hands in the chat, how many of you guys feel that the National Guard should be out there? And I'll put a one myself right now in the chat. But it has to be requested by the governor, as Ed just said. And our military, they don't fight crime in the United States. They are there for situations like this. You can utilize them to do those door-to-door searches. We see them on national disasters when there's hurricanes and so forth. They go out and they're helping clearing buildings to see if there's anybody in these buildings. So this would be a fantastic assignment for them to relieve some of the law enforcement from the state, local, and federal to go out and hunt this guy. So they're not taxed with having to go door to door. You put the National Guard on it. So that's a fantastic idea, Ed, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. Debbie Galloway, who's a channel member and a great friend, says, what about the special forces? That's going a little too far. Again, that goes against what our military does. And Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're not sending our Marines out there and our Green Berets to go out and hunt this guy.
Well, we have a law called posse comitatus, and you can't use the military. Posse comitatus. It's a law that we have in place that says you cannot use the United States military for law enforcement purposes. But there are special cases such as this where we're dealing with the National Guard, which is at the control of the governor. Okay, when they're not being federally deployed, they're at the control of the governor, and then they could bring in the guard and do these searches here, and armed. Not unarmed, armed. Okay.
Yeah, you have to be armed.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that's out there, look, I'm going to say this up close here and personal. For the folks who are looking for that $20,000 reward and are going into those wooded areas that are pitch black. I don't care if you got a floodlight camera or a flashlight or some type of heavy duty lighting device. Ed, what would you say to that, to folks that are going out there trying to find this guy in the middle of the night walking through those woods?
You're only causing havoc to the law enforcement agencies that are already involved looking for them. Because now they have to take precious resources away to deal with calls about you. Yeah. Rummaging around the woods with your lights and your weapons and so forth. And if you're not trained, if you're not sworn law enforcement, and you have no background in this, you shouldn't be out there doing this.
Right. And what if law enforcement mistakes you for the perpetrator that they're looking for Danelo Cavalcante? This could be a disastrous situation. Ed, I want to play this little piece because this is just going to go over a little bit of, a little background on what the day's events took place, because I know you and I were out. You were out with your family. You were out with your mom and dad. I was out with the missus. So I didn't really get a chance to look at a lot of this stuff. So let's look at this together for the first time. And thank you to all the new people who are joining. Remember, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. It's free. Hit that subscribe button so you'll get everything DutyRon and Ed Wallace when we go live.
Where tonight authorities hope they are zeroing in on an escaped murderer. Police narrowing down their search after 2 more sightings of the suspect were confirmed this morning, 10 days after his escape. News Nation's Evan Lambert is live with the very latest on the search efforts tonight. Evan?
Natasha, with the new search area focused on an area less than a square mile, everyone is asking the obvious question: why hasn't this killer been caught yet? It's day 10 in the search for the escaped killer in Pennsylvania, with new video coming into our newsroom tonight. Pennsylvania State Police confirming 34-year-old Danelo Cavalcante spotted twice Friday inside the search zone surrounding a popular botanical garden outside Philadelphia. That attraction, Longwood Gardens, is now the epicenter of the search, less than 1 square mile in Chester County. The search utilizing its highest number of resources so far, some 400 officers, helicopters and planes, dogs, cameras, and heat sensing technology. At the same time, it's exhausting residents who can't believe the fugitive has eluded capture this long.
It's no shade on the police officers. I know they're working hard. We just hope that it's over soon. Everybody in this community can't wait to move past this.
Ryan Drummond and his family may have had the closest brush yet with the murderer since his escape.
He took apple, a peach, and snap peas.
Authorities believe Cavalcante broke into his home 3 miles from the jail last Friday.
So I flipped the light switches off 3 or 4 times, just so that he knew that I knew that he was downstairs. Then he flipped the light switch back. And that was kind of the acute moment of terror, where I turned to my wife and said, he's downstairs, call 911.
State police say Cavalcante has experienced traversing harsh jungle conditions after fleeing Brazil, where he was accused of murder in 2017. A friend of his ex-girlfriend, who he killed here in Pennsylvania, shared exclusively with our Chris Cuomo more about Cavalcante's abilities.
I think he grew up in the woods, and I think that he probably can stay several days, as he is right now, probably hiding during the day, and then walking at nighttime. I was surprised to see that he's been going for so long without being captured. I would think he would commit some mistakes earlier than this right now.
When Cavalcante is captured, he will face a litany of new charges, including escape. Natasha?
So there you have it, Ed. A lot of information in that video talking about some of the technology that they are utilizing to try to capture this escaped convict. Any takeaways from there? You heard the homeowner that happened early on in the game, flicking the lights and playing the game with him. Too bad he didn't have a long arm or a 9mm on him.
Yeah, I'm surprised because Pennsylvania is a friendly 2A state. That this individual didn't have any firearms to protect himself with or to utilize.
Any takeaways from that little piece that we played there, Ed? Anything that you want to touch on?
I can just imagine the fright that went through them in that household at that time. And I hope they picked up the phone and called 911 immediately.
Yeah, he said he made mention to his wife to pick up the phone and call.
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. They're lucky to be alive. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They said he was on his way out the door. I have the CNN complete interview of that, and they actually show a video, not of the suspect, but they show a video of the actual location that he came through French doors, which led to an outdoor patio. So I'm going to play that a little bit later on. But, a lot of people have been arguing and saying in various chat rooms and all over the internet, Ed, is that they're angry with the police. We know that the onus is on the correctional facility, right? Chester County Prison. They're ultimately responsible for his care and custody, as Anthony Ganji says from Tier Talk. Care and custody, they allowed this convicted, sentenced. He was sentenced to life without parole and put in their care and custody. He was able to get out. People are up in arms with the local, state, and federal police, who are now searching for this convict because of a mistake that was made at the facility.
And it's not the first time that mistake has happened. Apparently, several people have escaped in the same exact manner.
Yeah, it was May of this year, May 19th, I believe. And then they went out and they contracted a out of the agency, private contractor, to go in there, and what they described as adding extra barbed wire. And he went prepared. And these inmates, they talked to each other. He went prepared and got up on that roof and was able to get over that barbed wire. But he was also able to leave that property, which is a huge piece of property that the prison is on, undetected. Not one other correction officer coming or going or civilian employee saw somebody wearing prison garb on the other side where he's not supposed to be. It's just fascinating to me. Things that make you go, right? But this last inmate in May was only out for 5 minutes. They got him right into custody. So it is what it is. Vet Girl RWB sends in a $20 super chat, and she says, thoughts on why they haven't secured and evacuated residents in that area. Please and thank you. She's always so polite and generous. Thank you, Vet Girl. Ed, I'll let you take that one, and then I'll give my thoughts on that. Well,
I don't think it's too much of an undertaking to do that, and you're going to uproot everybody's lives. And it's school time now. The kids are back to school. So, I mean, I know the whole community in that area are besides themselves with anxiety of what's going on. Many of them are locking themselves down in their houses with their children. They won't let them out of the house. If you have the means and you can do it, maybe people move to another place. But then again, what happens there is now you leave a house unattended, and that house is now prone to be broken into by this individual and looted and weapons stolen, or whatever the case may be.
Right. And it's so easy, ladies and gentlemen, it's so easy to just put that statement out there. But some people don't have second and third homes to go to. Not everybody has that capability. So what do they do? Go to a hotel until this gets resolved? We're on day 10. So if they did this from the get-go, you would be now putting people out of their homes for 10 days. So that's probably not a good option. But basically what they're telling them is to keep your doors locked, stay vigilant. If you're armed and legally armed, make sure you're, armed and ready. Secure up your entrance and exit points of your home. Keep your lights on outside. And that's really all you can do. But I know this for a fact. I mean, again, I spoke to my niece and my brother-in-law, and I text with my sister. People are frightened, and they have every right to be frightened. And again, the onus is on that prison. The prison was in charge of the care and custody of Danelo Cavalcante, and they failed. They failed here. So ultimately, the onus is on them, and the responsibility is. But as Ed said, it's just too big of an undertaking to now ask people to leave their homes. And there was a report, and I don't know if this is valid, that they were asking the farmers to, farm their crops early. Farmers are going to tell them, yeah, I'm going to farm my crop early so I can't put it to market. They're going to be like buffangool. You know what I mean? They're not going to do it. So, but, I don't know how legit that was. But I wanted to play this second piece because this was just an hour ago. And these are all Philadelphia. I'm going right local. I'm not really using anybody outside of that, with the exception of News Nation. But here's a Philadelphia from 1 hour ago.
Cavalcante is the manhunt for Danelo Cavalcante is intense in Chester County. CBS News Philadelphia reporter Nikki Dimitri tells us about the sightings of the dangerous fugitive.
Pennsylvania State Police say Danelo Cavalcante was spotted once again, this time twice on Friday within the search area. As we enter day 10 of this manhunt, troopers could be seen here every several hundred yards near Conservatory and Longwood Roads. It was a relatively quiet Saturday near the search area in Kennett Square. Pennsylvania State Police helicopters were back circling the area near Longwood Gardens. Law enforcement could be seen on the perimeter with long guns.
I think they're doing everything they can, to be honest with you.
Cavalcante has now been spotted at least 10 times since his brazen escape from the Chester County prison last Thursday. Police say Friday's sightings, quote, were actual visual sightings rather than the fugitive being caught on surveillance cameras.
If they're seeing something over there and they've been really looking over there, if people would just let them do their job, they'll find them. They'll find them.
All of this comes after a flurry of law enforcement activity Friday night. Police have yet to detail what happened at that time, but do say the perimeter Saturday has shifted once again. Gina Desio lives on Baltimore Pike.
Out my window, you can see they're back on the right-hand side.
Desio says except for a coffee run and to walk her dog, she's staying in her house until Cavalcante is back in custody.
It's nerve-wracking, you know. I have 2 garages, one's locked and one doesn't lock, so every morning I look.
Police are still asking the public if you see anything suspicious to please report it immediately. They also are thanking the community for all of their donations of food and supplies, but are asking that they hold off at this time. In Kennett Square, Nikki Dementri, CBS News, Philadelphia.
And a reminder about the tip line set up by state police, the number to call.
So I'm going to keep that up on the screen, the tip line. Ed, what did you think there? There was a resident confirming the fear that I got firsthand from my niece. She lives only 19 miles away from the actual search area, Longwood Gardens. But you heard her. She said, give them the chance. The police will eventually capture him. It's a matter of patience, but she was very supportive of the police.
Yeah, now these sightings now are not, they're saying these are actual people, visual sighting, not cameras or anything to that effect. I hope that these sightings are accurate and they're not just being called in and then pulling the police resources someplace other than where they need to be.
Yeah, and that would be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
We always have to be wary of that because you have so many people who, just make jokes of this and make it like it's just some kind of, some type of game. This is not a game. When we talk about Gonzalo Lopez down in Leon County, and that was some time ago, a family of 5, grandfather and his grandchildren, all murdered by an escapee just like this. Okay. Different part of the country. But this, a horrible, horrible outcome. Here's a message from one of our supporters from Romania. Love your videos. I'm praying for you all of you. Hope they catch him soon. I can't imagine how hard it is for all of you to live in this situation, in that zone. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you for that. Ed, I wanted to just briefly touch on the technology in some of these helicopters. These are new type Pennsylvania State Police state-of-the-art helicopters. What are they looking at here? I want to go over with you, if it's possible, if you have this information or knowledge. There's people out there talking, and it's been mentioned maybe on a couple of news outlets that due to the heavy heat conditions these past several days, that it was interfering with some of the technology. Do you have anything on that? Because I always look to you to get a little bit of an education. I don't know much about it.
No, that is not the case. The forward-looking infrared should not be affected by the ground heat or the subterranean heat that's found below them. They should be able to distinguish between a person and the ambient temperature of the land and the indigenous plant life around them, especially if they're moving or even if they're not moving. I mean, there are several different modes you can switch on the flare, black and white, white and gray, color, and so forth, that you'll be able to distinguish if the difference between a person and the background heat.
Yeah, and I wonder where the origin of this came, because I've never heard the state police superintendent. I never heard him mention it. I never heard anybody mention it in an official capacity. But again, I pay attention to Twitter spheres. Now it's called X. I listen sometimes on Instagram and on TikTok. There's a lot of conversations going on, and this is where I'm hearing most of it. And I had a feeling, but I just didn't have that knowledge where I felt.
No, I mean, I have a handheld thermal imager. I also have 2 drones that I use for Homeland Security training that have infrared. And if the infrared could easily be disabled by not being able to distinguish between ground surface heat and a person, then it would be of no use. Okay. Right. And that's just not the case. What they may be getting confused with is that the infrared camera on a drone or on a helicopter is being hampered by the canopy of the indigenous plant life, the trees and the leaves and everything, that they can't get past it, can't see through it to the ground where where our perp might be lying in wait or hiding or running through a field someplace.
Right, and I want to say that we came into this situation in a case that had nothing to do with an escaped convict in the Summer Wells case. Remember,
That's right.
the Ronnie Lawson and company down there in Hawkins County. They asked us if we could wait when I'm talking about EquiSearch Midwest to come back and search when the foliage was down, because then you can utilize a drone and see down. And like you said, the cover of that really, really heavy, thick foliage, it really hampers things. But
This is an area where maybe a request from the governor to the federal government for assistance, such as the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, or like, for instance, ICE and Custom Border, CBP, they have drones that they use at the borders, whether it's the southern border or the northern border. And these drones have a lot of high-tech capabilities. I'm not talking the little drones that we operate. I'm talking about the big drones like the military Predators and so forth. And they're forward-looking infrared, and their thermal imaging and all these other these other high-tech gadgets that are on these things can possibly be of assistance, helping them with this case.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think that, Ed, I don't feel like they are not open to any avenues of help here. I'm almost certain that this command center is welcoming everybody and anybody. So any resources would be a big help here. Going about my father's business says, I have the link to the scanner. Would you like it? I'm not really crazy about listening to scanner activity, because I have it through my paid service that I have, but I choose not to listen to it because it's kind of like, I think they're on like a truncated system where it's like kind of garbled a little bit. It's not really great listening for live, but there's something for you, Ed. Jacqueline's got something.
Yeah, she's asking what the acronym ICE stands for. It's Immigration's Custom Enforcement.
So it's Immigration Custom Enforcement. We dealt with ICE quite a bit at JFK. I was
Right.
That was one of our biggest customers with the warrants. Unfortunately, we used to get called by ICE all the time. People
Right.
coming into America from outside the country.
Now,
Yeah.
prior to Homeland Security's existence, Immigrations and Customs fell under the Department of Justice as two separate agencies. There was the Immigration and Naturalization Service, and there was the Customs Agency. Upon creating upon creating the Department of Homeland Security, they transitioned from the Department of Justice to the Department of Homeland Security, where they were combined into one enforcement outfit called ICE.
Right. Thank you for that, Ed. That clears up a lot. People are now no longer scratching their head. Wild Tribe Claire says he could be dead in a ditch, costing millions of dollars. That's true, but if he's dead in a ditch somewhere, the onus, and again, we need to find him. They need to capture him, bring him into custody, dead or alive. And we went over this last night. The orders of shoot to kill. People are getting out of control with this. It's going to be a command: get on the ground, show me your hands. Or something of that nature. If he does not comply, then the order is to shoot to kill. Right. So they're going to give him an opportunity. It depends on what team gets a hold of him first. But one command only, and they'll probably give him that command in his native tongue. It's not going to be in English. It's going to be in Spanish, so he understands it.
He's from Brazil.
Yes,
it's going to be Portuguese,
whatever the case may be. So thanks, Ed. Thanks for correcting me on that. So
I'm sorry.
Portuguese. It's a stickler for perfection. Spanish, Portuguese. But somebody said in one of the interviews that he speaks multiple, he speaks Spanish too.
I'm sure he does.
So, okay, in Portuguese. Ed wants to be a perfectionist here. I'll go with the Portuguese. I believe it.
Hey, don't make me go get Dr. Fitzpatrick on your ass.
I love Colleen. All right, here we go. This is the homeowner. Thanks, Ed. I don't want Colleen on my ass. She is a real ball of fire. This is the homeowner's interview. This is fascinating. Let me know in the chat if you've seen it. If you've heard this interview, put a 1. If you haven't, put a 2. And let's let it roll. Hold on a second. I got a little housekeeping to do here quickly. Bingo.
What would you do if an escaped murderer showed up in your house? My next guest thinks he had that unique experience last week. Today, day 10 of the manhunt for Danelo Cavalcante, convicted last month of first-degree murder in the 2021 killing of his ex-girlfriend, stabbing her nearly 40 times in front of her children. Cavalcante, who was 34, was sentenced to life, but before his transfer to state prison on August 31st at about 9 in the morning, he escaped from the Chester County jail.
Ed, when you first saw this, did you think that this guy was his lookout to the right?
If it looked like that, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I would be concerned. Not for concerned. I'd really be interested to know. And the jail, the warden at the prison, they have the video, the full video. Obviously, we're getting a small snippet of it here.
Now, it doesn't appear to be in prison garb.
Here, he has his shirt off, this guy.
No, I'm talking about our escapee. He looks like he's got white shirt and black pants on and sneakers. He doesn't appear to be in your typical prison garb.
I think that's the attire there at that location.
He's got something underneath his waist. There's something there. You see the bulge around the t-shirt?
Yeah, it was a towel, I believe,
Yeah.
or a t-shirt or a towel.
Mhm.
But we did not get any confirmation. This is all internet speculation of what that is. Some people said that it was this guy's shirt. There's other people that said because it was 90 degrees and 95% humidity that they had white towels. So who knows?
I like the way the reporter said, what would you do if this was your, if this was your house, right? Well, that would be a fatal mistake on this guy if he came to my house.
Yeah. Several people, when I first did the very first live, Ed, they said, if this guy would have came into Ed's or DutyRon's home, it wouldn't have ended good. So, and that's correct. That's correct.
Everybody in my household has a gun.
Everybody in my house knows how to use a gun. I'll put it to you that way. I'm the legal owner of the guns, but everybody in my house knows how to use them.
Mm-hmm.
To state prison on August 31st at about 9 in the morning. He escaped from the Chester County Jail about 30 miles west of Philadelphia by crab walking between two walls of the roof. He ran across the roof, scaled another fence, and then got through more razor wire. Neither the tower guard overlooking the prisoners nor the person tasked with monitoring the facility's cameras saw the escape as it happened. The tower guard, an 18-year veteran, he was fired yesterday. By Friday, nearly 400 local, state, and federal officers were scouring an 8-square-mile stretch of woods near an area called Longwood Gardens, where Cavalcante was seen around noon on Thursday. One of the 8 or 9 reported sightings that were deemed credible by authorities. You're about to hear a one-of-a-kind tale about one such sighting last Friday evening, about 1.5 miles from the county prison. Ryan Drummond joins me now. Ryan, thank you for being here. Paint the picture. It's last Friday night. It's close to midnight. You're home. You're in bed. Wife's in bed. Kids are in bed. What happened?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So Friday, we were, even before we went to bed, we were all out on the deck, enjoying our Friday. And we were locking up the house because we knew that there was a prisoner on the loose. And we had this old French door that was off the side of our deck. And I really struggled to get it locked. And my daughter was very concerned. I said, don't worry, he's probably nowhere near here. And of course, why would he ever come to this door? So we end up going to sleep. I hear a noise at around 11:30. I walk out of the bedroom, and from my bedroom, I can look down. So I look down towards the living room, and the kitchen's off to the side. And I thought I heard a noise. I went back to my wife and I said, hey, I don't want to freak you out, but I think there might be somebody downstairs. Grab your phone. I went back out. I saw that the door was slightly ajar. That's when my stomach dropped. I ran down the hallway to make sure all my kids were accounted for. And when I came back, I could start to hear, a little bit of shuffling. So I grabbed any kind of weapon that I could. And ironically, the only thing that I had there was a picture frame of my wife, and kids. And when I grabbed it, I did like a Frisbee motion. Should I go over the head? And in that moment, I realized how ridiculous this. Here you have this guy who's a murderer surrounded by steak knives, because we did have steak that night. And I looked to my left and saw the light switch and decided to flick the light switch on and off 3 or 4 times. And there was a little bit of a pause. and then he flicked the light switch back at me from the kitchen. So that was kind of the acute moment of terror. I turned to my wife. I said, he's downstairs. Call 911 right now. And at that point, there was a little bit of a pause. And, you know, I wasn't sure if he was going to come up the steps, in which case I would, you know, have to go down and there would be a confrontation. And in that moment, I saw him walk out of the kitchen into the living room, not even running, just kind of walking methodically. He had a white shirt, white bag, white hat, and he went out that French door. And by that time, I was on the phone with the police, and they arrived moments later.
Ryan, real quick, because I'm limited on time. Do you think that
So there it is. So that's the view of the picture. Some of the people in the chat, Ed, and I don't like to get caught up in the chat. People are saying, oh, that his story was, you know, bullshit.
My Kara would never let that happen. I mean, you can't walk in front of my house. You can't be UPS or FedEx trying to drop off a package on our stoop without her barking and
Right.
and you knowing that you're there.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it's funny because I used to have an Akita. My first dog with Margaret was an Akita. Now this dog was a silent attacker. He would lay there in wait inside of the house if he heard someone coming in the door, the keys, whatever the case may be, opening the door. He would lie there and wait, not bark. And then as soon as you came in, he'd pounce on you. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I have my little Oscar Dachshund. If you are in the backyard and he, you know, is in the front of the house, he's coming running across the kitchen, and he's 15 years old, barking and screaming. Mailman comes in, he hears the mailbox shut when he puts the mail in it. Boom, he's, even with the shades down, he's barking like crazy.
Mhm.
But again, law enforcement, the state police superintendent, he spoke about this, and again, people are saying, oh, this is old, but this is an interview that was aired on CNN 9 hours ago. So this incident, yes, was from last weekend, but this was an interview that they put out on CNN just 9 hours ago. So it was from today.
During the interview, did he say acute moment of terror or an acute moment of terror? What did he actually say? Because I can't see the words cute moment of terror going together.
Yeah. I'm not sure what part that was. Was it when he first started speaking?
No, I think it was when he realized that the guy was in the house, in the kitchen, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we could listen to it again, but I don't think we can get these 4 minutes back. But I can roll it back.
No, it's no big deal. If anybody heard it in the chat, because I was trying to make acute. Yeah, I was wondering if he was saying acute. Okay, I get that. All right.
It's not a cute moment because
It's not, yeah,
it's your pants moment.
yeah. It's the pucker factor on his sphincter muscle was extremely high. I bet he could have shit a diamond at that point.
Exactly. And I want to congratulate my warehouse manager Mark for being in here 3 nights in a row. So thank you for your support, and thank you for becoming a channel member. And speaking of support, I want to go through these super chats, Ed, because they're important, and we are thankful. Judy comes in with a $5 super chat, and she says, detectives, have you ever been involved in a manhunt? Yes, I have been. What do you think is the most dangerous aspect for law enforcement? Thank you. I'll answer with mine first, and then I'll let Ed go. The unknowns, the unknown of, we know who we're looking for, but we don't know where he is, and we don't know what weapons he has. So you have to think, of the worst case scenario. He could have an AR-15. He could have a 9mm. He could be a specialist in edged weapons. Edged weapons are very dangerous up close and personal. And, so all of the unknowns is what makes this really dangerous. Ed?
Yeah, I mean, from being from warrants, when you're clearing a house looking for a suspect that's wanted that is in there, and your investigation led you there, and you're showing, you're stepping on eggshells, with the anxiety and fear of the unknown. Where's this guy hiding in here, and is he going to jump out at me? Is he armed? Is he not armed?
Right. We know everything about the suspect, but we don't know what he has, what he is in possession of. What did he get new today, overnight? What did he get the other day?
And you know his history. You know what he's done before. He's a cop fighter. He's not a cop fighter. You know, he's a runner. You know, so forth and so on.
And this guy's a killer.
Right.
So thank you, Judy, for that question. Pisces comes in with a $5 yen, I believe that is, Ed. 500 yen, right? Is that yen? Can't see it. The bump could be, thank you for whatever currency that is. The bump could be his freedom bump, if you know what I mean. LOL. Yeah, okay. Thank you. But yeah, anything's possible here. Robbie from Australia, our good friend, sends in $5, and he says, could he have any medical conditions which he might need meds? Yeah, could be. Could be. Ed, you're reading ahead. I bet you.
Yeah, I mean, one of our chats talking about her Mastiff. Man, I wouldn't want to go up against that dog. Those dogs are huge.
Crime Solver sends in a $2 super chat. Thank you. And she says, why aren't they looking by foot in the woods? Thank you. I've seen them in the woods looking. They are on foot in the woods. So thank you, Lauren.
They should break out some horses.
They have. There's tons of horses. Tons of horses. So I have a video from yesterday where they bolstered it up to 400, and they show horses like crazy. Ed, I want to get to the second part of this thing. There is, as we mentioned, we touched on briefly, people out there, and the news is calling them vigilantes. I don't agree with that. But the news is reporting that there are droves of people that are coming out for the 20K, right? $20,000 is a lot of money. And to a lot of people that could mean a great deal of a difference in the way they live. So folks are out there for that $20,000. Before we play this piece, because it's going to show some of these people in the middle of the night last night going out there, and there's people talking about it on the internet. I think I looked on Reddit and I saw people saying there's this one and that one, going out with floodlights and planning to go into the woods along Longwood Garden. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, listen, and to do bounty hunting, you're supposed to have a license. If you're not licensed in the state of Pennsylvania or the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to perform bounty hunting, or a private investigator, and you're licensed private investigator, you could be violating the law, okay, by doing what you're doing. Okay. Plus, as I said earlier, you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, one, with the suspect, and two, with law enforcement who don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. And Robert Hill, if that's my friend Robert from PSA 2, I don't know if that's the same Robert Hill that I worked with in Brownsville in East New York. If it is, welcome, Bobby. 20K is not worth my life. Absolutely. I'm saying to some people, $20,000 is a lot of money. Most of us say you can't put a price tag on your life, right? And why go out there and risk it? This is a confirmed 2-time murderer. This guy is not going to be friendly if you come in contact with him. You have to be ready and able and willing to kill this guy, because if you don't kill him, he's going to kill you. And that's a fact. I'm not saying that to be sensational here, but if you come in contact with this guy and you're hunting him and you stumble across him, he ain't going to just give up. He's going to fight you, and he's going to probably kill you.
Well, we already know that he's committed homicides. So, and he's desperate, and his back is up against the wall, so to speak, and he's trying to get out of our country.
And if he's not armed, we know he's got a huge amount of upper body strength and leg strength. This guy can choke you out or put you in some kind of guillotine move, and you are history in 2 minutes. Let's take a look at this is the report about the folks searching out there in the middle of the night. This comes from our friends at Fox 29 in Philadelphia.
Keeley, what are you seeing where you are?
Well, look, right out our side where we are in a farm field, and look at this scene. You heard of storm chasers, the people that like to chase twisters, right? Well,
this is last night.
How about this group gathering to watch the latest twist of fate here that has struck Kennett Square this week? Many coming out from surrounding areas to see this search spectacle, but we actually saw some of them doing their own search in this huge farm field using flashlights. They're walking around in the rain, not worrying about all the mosquitoes that are gathering every time they turn a light on. And we're seeing 4 confirmed sightings so far this week, but as many as 20 tips a day have come in to that command center from tipsters who think they saw them. So what's going on here? Well, this last escape before this one lasted only.
So you see here, these guys, Ed, I don't know if you could see on your screen, but they're walking out in the middle of this cornfield. Just
Not
insanity.
good. Not good.
Insanity. I want to thank Galen for gifting out 5 memberships. And there was somebody earlier in the live stream that also purchased 5 gifted memberships. Welcome to all the new members. And again, if you're not yet subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button. It's free. Ed Wallace and I really appreciate it. And for those of you who are on the Buy Me a Coffee app and buying Ed and I cups of coffee, it goes a long way, and we appreciate it tremendously. Ed, I'm going to let the rest of this play. I know you see you looking at anything in the chat that piques your interest.
No, just when I see something, I'll bring it to my attention.
Look at this comment. All summer long says DutyRon knows all about mosquitoes.
Yeah, they love him out in Gilgo Beach. They said, man, bring back that Italian guy again.
They ate me up like I was I was in a 5-star restaurant being eaten up by mosquitoes. All right, let's let the rest of this roll. Thank you, Renee, for the super sticker. She says, super chat, dangerous perps are those with nothing to lose. Well said, my friend.
Only 5 minutes. This escape about to end. What's going on here? Well, this last escape before this one lasted only 5 minutes. This escape about to end or take into its 10th day, double that number, and now entering a second weekend with not only homeowners and family on guard, but some traditional weekend get-togethers and places to visit, maybe putting off events till next weekend in hopes that this is the last one like this, right? You got from planned yard sales we saw, signs on posters around, to the biggest yard around here, Longwood Gardens again, closed until further notice, now completely surrounded. We were driving on all sides of this all night. It looks like a law enforcement retreat's going on there. Meantime, Friday night dinner business seemed to be going strong. Maybe people finally wanted to get out and thought, all right, he hasn't gotten us this point. Let's get out and stretch our legs a bit. We saw the Applebee's parking lot packed. It was the end of the week grocery getting crowds. We saw packing the Walmart parking lot like it was Black Friday with sales going on. And now as we head into Eagles season Sunday's opener, maybe Chester County, as we look at that escape video one more time, the prison leaders out here can borrow an idea from the Philadelphia police and how they stop all those overzealous Eagles faithful from shimmering up poles during the celebration. How about greasing those 2 walls? Prisoners have now been able to crab walk up 3 different times to get up on the roof and escape.
Oh my God!
I mean,
yeah, we're going to get a big can of spam
brick walls there to prevent this from happening. I want to ask you about those people out there, Steve. Do you think they have their eye on that $20,000 reward, and that's what's inspiring them to be out there?
That's possible, and I was wondering if he comes out of a cornfield at him, are they mindset thinking what we're going to do to react on him, right? But this guy, again, 34 years old, but only 5 feet tall, 120 pounds. He's hard to find. He's a little guy. And I thought if this keeps going on and we get closer to Halloween, as we saw all the Halloween decorations and all the Halloween signs and all that pumpkin spice stuff, I thought the Danelo Cavalcante costume is going to be the #1 costume with kids around here, making this search go even bonkers.
Yep, unbelievable out there. All right, Steve Keeley, thank you very much for coming.
So there you have it.
And we'll keep tabs.
Oh no. All right. So we're back here. You know,
yeah, we're going to get a big Costco-sized can of Pam and spray the walls in the prison.
Yeah, spam it
this
up.
Guy for real?
Yeah. Get some Pam, grease it on there, or anyways, the funny part about that comment is that he didn't elaborate and say they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars employing an outside agent, an outside private company. They contracted an outside private company to square it up and make it so it can't happen again. Fast forward from May to August 31st, you got the same shit happening again. So it's crazy. The Internal Revenue Service is on. Has everybody paid their taxes? Let's just do a quick check. Ed, are you good every year? You pay your taxes?
Oh, yeah. I pay my quarterly taxes on time, every time.
here it is. Internal Revenue Service is sending us foreign currency in a super chat and is saying we should set up massive speakers and blare annoying music at them all night.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the people in the community there would love that. So we're going to do a psyops, or we're going to do like the FBI did in Waco.
I say they play Britney Spears, "Hit Me Baby One More Time." Yeah, and I think that'll get them to come out of there. Thank you for that, Internal Revenue Service. My taxes are paid up. Yeah, so Talks to Angel says the Bad Boy song. Yeah, that's not a bad one. There's just so much going on here, so many moving parts. This is an ongoing case. We're going to continue to follow this closely, but you know, there's people out there again on a regular basis. There's folks that are, you know, boots on the ground that are bringing you their take on this thing. I really enjoy the Fox 29 reporter Chris O'Donnell, I believe his name is, or O'Connell. It's O'Connell. He is pretty awesome. I want to show some air coverage, Ed. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, but wait, before you do that, before I lose my train of thought, I just remembered where somebody was, either a store owner was trying to get rid of the homeless people in front of his store, so he kept playing Baby Shark.
Oh yeah, where was that? Anybody in the chat remember that?
Baby Shark, Shark, Shark. It drove them nuts.
Yeah, it drove them nuts, and they found another place. Gigi says, yes, Chris has been amazing with his coverage. I think he's got the weekend off, so it looks like he wasn't planning to cover this case last night or yesterday. He was working. He gave us the video from the command center, but then he went out to the scene and he was working. He did another 5-hour live stream. So this is aerial coverage, Ed, from yesterday, and this gives you, like what you were saying about the cover, you know, how thick it is and how you really can't see if somebody's walking within that area there, unless you have some type of special equipment that's going to, you know, get you in there. Heavy duty, you know, camera that's going to, I call this a crop circle a little bit here. He zoomed in on it. So Ed Jr., you got Ed Jr. and there's your horses, Ed.
Yeah, good. Horses are great for this.
Ed Jr. says the Barney song.
I love you, you love me. I'm sorry, I know that song, but my kids watched that when they were young.
Me too.
Hey, here's another thing too that just popped into my head looking at this aerial shot. You know, the governor also has control over the Air National Guard. And the Air National Guard has assets like AWACS that could be deployed in assistance.
What is AWACS, Ed?
That is our eye in the sky, eye in the sky look that could be used with radar and various other detecting equipment that could look down upon a field like this and find enemy combatants and so forth.
So that could be available to them if they were to request and have the National Guard come on in.
It's a possibility.
Wow. Fascinating. Hello, Mark. Thank you for joining. I want to say a special thank you to the mods for keeping it really classy in the chat. Thank you, Miss Donna Marie, Joey Brooklyn, and Princess Mitch, I believe, is still here. Hey, mods, please, if you can, step up right now. Mods, let yourself be known. I'd like to say thank you to you guys all for being here. I do see Lieutenant Pete Pranzo. He's in there, and that means his beautiful wife, Richella, is here as well. So there's Princess Mitch. Tiffany Knox, thank you for being here. Jersey Devil. Ed, anything jump out at you when you're looking at this is that Longwood, or outside a little bit outside of that Longwood Gardens? This is just the outskirts of it. So, and you know, and the command center, did you take a peek at that? It looked like something from 1PP when you go up there into the operations center. My brother used to work up there, and they had all the you know, screens and all of the intel and the data that they share and locations of where everybody is and where all the units are. Did you take a peek at that command center from yesterday?
Yes.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Impressive. It's these air shots though, they're good too. You can see how that canopy can obstruct your view of what's going on beneath it. So if the thermal imaging drones or the forward-looking infrared on the helicopter, especially at night, can't penetrate that canopy.
Yeah. And this is, like you said, a prime example here. He zoomed in. Yes, you could see this is a state police, or can't really make the uniform out there, but somebody with a long arm there, and they're at different intervals. Yes, you can zoom in on the roadway, but if that person went in 10, 20 feet into that brush, you ain't going to see him. So let's go to the chat. #Ed, #DutyRon for questions pertaining to the search for Danelo Cavalcante. Just put it in the chat. #Ed, #DutyRon. Wendy says she works at 1PP. My condolences go out to you. You're at the Puzzle Palace, working in the Puzzle Palace. That can't be easy. I wouldn't even brag about that.
Oh, stop.
I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
My brother got assigned there, and he was not happy with it. And then he quickly got, comfortable there, and he actually enjoyed his stay. He was there for almost 3 years. So as a sergeant, when he got promoted to lieutenant, and then they bounced him out of there, and then they brought him back.
Yeah, Margaret worked the majority of her career at 1PP, first in hate crimes task force, and then later in major case.
Right. Yep.
And I spent my last year there with the commissioner of counterterrorism.
Here comes our hashtags coming in. Brenda says, #DutyRon. Did they cancel the mushroom festival? If they didn't, they should. But I heard that they didn't. So if anybody's got some intel on that, let me know. They shouldn't go forward with the mushroom festival. Val Fitz, #DutyRon, and Ed. Has he been seen today by law enforcement? And one of the reports I played earlier says that they saw that there was 2 sightings of him, and they didn't confirm whether it was by law enforcement or not. What do you see, Ed? Anything?
Someone loves the color of my decor.
And Mom cleaned it up and made it presentable. I'm sure Margaret was happy that she did that. There was a little bit of housekeeping going on before we went live. Ed's mom.
One pillow was out of place, and my mom had to go fix it.
And it was the pillow right over Ed's left shoulder over here towards the back.
Well, if the sightings are still occurring, yeah, he's probably still in there.
All right, let's see. Team Brittany is here. Lieutenant Pete Pranzo. I'm looking for some hashtags. Okay.
Hey, are these magic mushrooms like our Treasury Secretary
No, I've been there.
Was eating in China?
No, I've been there, and it's just it's miles and miles of mushrooms. I got your humor, Ed. I got it. DutyRon, #DutyRon. I think he's too short to be seen. Okay.
Yeah, it could be a tunnel rat.
Yeah. Here's one from Princess Mitch for you, Ed.
Yeah, I think I answered that, my lady. I believe that since these sightings are still occurring, he's still most likely there. If they can be trusted, if the sightings can be trusted.
Right,
that's why it's best for the video cameras capturing him, then that's more reliable.
All right. Steve Packard says #is schools open. It's the weekend, so no. But come Monday, if there's any schools within this general area, in my opinion, they should not be open. I know that I heard in a press conference that they did reopen some of the schools. I don't agree with that because this is a dangerous situation. And I know I wouldn't be sending my kids to school in that area. They'd be staying home with me with multiple weapons, play inside the house, and hang out at home. But yeah, it is what it is. Let me just go forward with this because there's a little piece of this here. They stay with these horses for a while. These horses are just doing perimeter security. They're not looking. They're not moving. And again, this is footage from yesterday. Let me see. Did you see right here on this overpass, Ed, they had 3 or 4 riflemen, and it looked like sniper rifle. One guy had a scope. He had the guy in the middle. He's got that on a tripod and a scope there, and he had a long rifle with a scope.
Are you going to show it? Do you want to put it on the screen?
Oh shit! I didn't realize I wasn't showing it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Not being critical, Ron. I'm just saying.
It's good, Ed. I thought it was on. Thank you. I'm a jack of all trades here. I'm doing it all. You just show up.
Damn.
And thank God you show up, Ed.
Okay, so you got a guy with a rifle on a tripod. It's like my son's setup when we're doing long range shooting.
This guy in the middle has got the scope, and I have better video from on the ground. Or
he's got a spotting scope with probably a rangefinder.
Why would you think that they have these three guys set up here?
Well, maybe they were trying to flush him out of a nearby location and push him in that direction.
Many people were critical of this and said, what were they going to do? Just as soon as they see him, shoot him?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just
maybe now they know. Maybe now they know that he has a weapon. Maybe there is some information there that we don't know. Hey, Tim Acosta's in the room. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Timmy, great to see you, brother. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you being here. This is going to be ongoing, obviously, until he's caught. And I want to just show this. This is from yesterday as well. A little bit more footage. Shows an FBI personnel. He was there for a good part of the day. This FBI guy. Ed, what are you laughing about?
All right, Tiff Knox, you're getting the call out now. He said the guy that we were aired before about the perp being in his house. He was so scared you couldn't drive a wet watermelon seed up his butt with a sledgehammer.
Tiffany gets the comment of the day.
We've saw so far. And what makes it interesting and probably that works in the advantage of law enforcement, we had a chance to go on a tour of the command center today, the Joint Command Center in Unionville at a local fire department. It started out as a trailer. Now the whole fire department has been transformed into a temporary command center. That is where they have their maps. That is where the communication. That is where they're dispatching the aerial support. And today, we heard that it was today, day 9, the largest law enforcement boots on the ground response so far. More than 400 law enforcement are on the ground today, and we've been told that's been the largest response so far. So take a look down Conservatory Road on the grounds of Longwood Gardens. You see, again, as it has been for the last 9 days, a very tense situation, with every reported sighting, especially one that is a physical and confirmed sighting. From what we understand, we haven't heard that yet from law enforcement, but judging by the response, we've been around here long enough. We know this is something serious. We know it is something that that was worth responding to. See more search helicopters. You will hear the helicopters in the air. When they need to refuel, they will refuel or dispatch from a field, like I said, about 3 miles away from here, or go to a local airport to refuel. But there has been constant, especially since the sighting last night. The last confirmed sighting of Danelo Cavalcante was on these grounds yesterday at noon. That is when someone saw him. Some trail cameras backed up that information. So the last physical confirmation of the sighting was yesterday on the grounds of Longwood Gardens.
Ed, what kind of weapon is that? Can you make it out?
Looks like he's got an AR style rifle or possibly an M4.
It looks just like my AR. I have a Smith & Wesson, and it looks exactly like that. And I kind of zoomed in on it a little bit to get a better look at it. But.
So this morning when we had our briefing, Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens told us that they felt like they were close, but they also felt. And hey, Brian, I'm going to go talk to him and see if he doesn't mind. I'll maybe put him on camera. I'm going to walk over and talk to someone, a gentleman who lives across the street from here. I wanted to know Could I talk to you? Do you mind if I ask you one quick question just about living here? Brian? Real quick. We're live streaming now on Fox 29. We were talking earlier. First of all, I got to mention the first rule. Your dog, what is his name?
Oh, it's Barrett.
It's Barrett. We always like to include the dog. What is your name, sir?
Jim Haran.
Jim, you live right across the street from the search area. You were in the search zone right now. You were away on business, and then you came back, and you knew what was going on. What's going through your mind now that this escaped killer could be hundreds of yards away from you?
It's crazy. I mean, it's kind of surreal, that this is going on right now. It's it's nuts.
People who may not live here, what is the emotion like? Are you frightened? Are you locking your doors? Are you taking those precautions?
No, the police have been great. I mean, they've been everywhere. They're stationed up in Unionville. I felt safe the whole time.
How long can you last here? Because it's been going on 9 days, and it seems like frustration is beginning to set in.
I think we're pretty close. Yeah. So, God willing.
Is tonight the night?
I think so.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Well, there you go.
So that was just some local coverage. Ed, let's wrap it up. We've been on an hour. We're going to be following this close. When he is taken into custody, hopefully it won't be during the business week. I'm hoping maybe sometime today or tomorrow. But Monday is September 11th, Ed, and we plan to do a show. 22 years. Both Ed and I responded that day, and we did various different duties and details over the next course of, for Ed, probably a lot longer than me, but I was at the medical examiner's office on details from warrants all the way into April, May of 2002. So I know, Ed, you did, quite a bit of work after the fact and lost a lot of friends, family, and all different kinds of things. And we'll get into that on September 11th today and speak about our experiences. It's going to be a rough one. I never enjoy doing these, but we do them. I do them every year, and I don't remember what we did last year, but it's a hard day. So
Definitely, and I'm with my parents, and we're probably going to end up in church first and then come back. But hey, before I forget, for you folks that are out here now watching, if you haven't seen our Forensic Fridays episode that we did yesterday, please go down into YouTube and take a look at the Forensic Friday show that we did yesterday. We had a forensic anthropologist, Dr. Murray Marks. We had forensic genealogist, DNA expert, Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick, and we had our forensic odontologist expert, Dr. Larry Dahlgren, on the show, and it was a fabulous educational experience for the show yesterday. Please give it a look.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to link it down below in the description, and I'll link it so you can go and check it out easily from here. This whole case that's been going on kind of took some of the fire away from that show. I'd like to get everyone to go over there and at least click on it, watch, as much as you can. It was 58 minutes or maybe an hour total, but it was the most educational live stream that we put out in quite some time. We put out many of shows just like that, but this was a great Forensic Friday. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe here and click on the link. I'll put it in the very first pinned comment and also in the description here. And Ed and I would like to encourage everyone it's free. Subscribe, share, follow us on all social, one word, DutyRon, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. No, we're not swinging from a pole. Ed, can you tell everybody about your hat? I just noticed it again. I'm going to go full screen with you. So it's the Texas Rangers, Department of, I didn't see what the top of it said, Department of Safety, Public Safety.
Public Safety, yes. Department of Public Safety is Texas Rangers. That's right.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a bunch of friends down there and former alumni of my training. So a lot of my students were in the Texas Rangers.
Awesome. Ed's got a Rolodex of if you drop that thing, like it was like a long drop off, it would be like 20 sheets, a mile long. Let's say thank you to these super chatters. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super sticker. Charlene, Montana Mama, Katita, Robbie again. Robbie's throwing his checkbook at us. Says, looks like it's a Brazilian nut season in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Richie became a member and he said, I'm on the payroll now, or I'm paying dues or something like that. Thank you, Richie. I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing all the stuff. Mustang Sally.
All right.
That's $5. She says, when they do catch him, will he be shackled 24/7 in prison? I say that they throw him under the prison and put him in solitary. But Anthony said no, that he'll just be closely watched. And then,
well, not in that prison.
No, the district attorney, was asked at the last press conference, where will he go? And she said he won't go there. All right, guys. Melanie Little is going to be live at 9:30. Attorney Melanie Little. I'll link her live stream in the description as well. Go over and check hers out. Check out our live from last night, as Ed just said. Love and respect from Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. And to all of the residents and the families and everybody who's affected in that area, especially our law enforcement, the police, and everybody that's on the ground that is searching, men and women, be safe. As Ed says, stay prepared and watch your six. Be very, very careful out there. It's dangerous. This guy is a dangerous person. And if you're a civilian and you're trying to engage with this guy, you better be ready. You better be ready to fight for your life, because he's not going to go easy. So, Ed, anything final?
Well, you said my line, so I guess I can't say that.
Well, I'm not going to say my line, so I said yours because we're just kind of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just want everybody to be safe, be careful. For those folks out in Pennsylvania in harm's way, protect yourselves. Okay, take care of each other out there, and then if you get involved in a situation there, protect you first, 911 second.
Yeah, exactly, and be ready. Be ready. Thank you to the replay viewers and everybody who's left super chats, the moderators, and all of the new subscribers. You guys are awesome. We're streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. So check us out on all those platforms. Good night from New York and Ed's in Jersey. We'll see you guys soon. Peace and love.